back. Now, a recent report released by McKinsey Company revealed that only 14% of boardroom positions in Africa are occupied by women. And the report, under the theme Women Matter Africa, also stated that earnings before interest and taxes, that margin of African companies with at least a quarter share of women on their boards on average is higher than the industry average overall. And joining us telephonically now is Michelle Olckers, who's the co-CEO of Mazars, to talk to us about the key reasons as to why the gender gap still exists. Michelle, thanks so much for speaking to us this morning and welcome.
Thank you, Sakina. Good morning.
So, looking at this 14% of boardroom positions in Africa and only 14% filled by females, what are some of the possible reasons that exist for this particular anomaly?
Yes, I think that we all know that this topic has been debated for a long time, and it's quite alarming that it hasn't changed enough over the years. And I think the reasons for this are quite a few. And I think if you look at Africa, one of the key reasons is that I think in Africa traditionally decision makers were men. And this is a hard thing to change around thinking at boardroom level. You know, roles of women are still seen as those of the homemaker. And the men listen to each other and they don't easily bring women into that. So I think what we need to see is more promotion and development of female talent from within the business up to the upper levels. We do see women filling non-executive positions more often, but that's not necessarily the best way to actually transform a business. I also think that the access to education is still slow within Africa for women, and probably for the same reasons in terms of what roles women traditionally have filled. Women are still in the minority in terms of businesses and at the senior levels, and therefore they're often overlooked. And I think when a woman is put in a position of authority and power, some people don't take them seriously because they think that they're there for tokenism or for the wrong reasons. And that makes it very difficult for women who really have got the skills and the right ability to lead that company.
Now, this particular report, Michelle, is there a breakdown in terms of the types of companies? And also, are they stereotypical? In other words, would mining, for example, have fewer women and cosmetics companies more, for example?
There is definitely stereotyping still existing. If you also look at the difference between the public sector and the private sector, you will find that often in the public sector, the positions that women, there are a lot more women in the public sector, but they're holding the portfolios and the positions that are, you know, seen as less significant and less important, and not the ones in finance and the areas where, you know, the men feel that they potentially have the better skill set, which is really not true because women have been shown to really have those abilities and just not given often the opportunities to pick them up. So I think that definitely from a mining perspective, as you asked, you're definitely going to see that there are more men in those positions because of the nature of the business.
So, Michelle, assuming that 14% is broken down by country, where does South Africa sit, and which country would then have the most and which country the fewest number of board members?
I don't have that specific information on the breakdown. I do know, though, that from a South African perspective, if you look at the JSE and our top 40 companies, we don't have many with women either leading or fulfilling those significant roles.
What was interesting was that I see that according to this report, Michelle, it's a proven fact that when women are on the business boards, it is more innovative, and also there's better decision making and stronger financial freedom in these companies. What are your views on that?
I think this is so true. I'm sitting at a board level in terms of my business, and I see how when myself as a woman opens up conversations around different areas that men haven't often thought about, how they can really take business to new levels. I also think that women look into the talent pool more and draw people into the higher levels of the business to get a better understanding of how the business operates. I think we must also remember that women, from their nature, in terms of their their shopping and the way they operate, have a good understanding of what a customer is looking for. And I think that intelligence could be used very well in many businesses.
So it then begs the question as to, if you have the empirical evidence to back this up, why aren't we seeing more women on the boards of businesses?
And it's a very good question, and it's not easy to answer. I think that you're probably aware that there's been conversations around, should we introduce quota systems so that we actually force this to happen? I think that might be something that needs to be looked at more seriously for many countries in Africa, because it's just taking too long. The empirical evidence is there. We need to look at women as a serious contender in terms of transforming a business, improving its performance, really making a difference. I think the economy is missing out on skills and ideas, and these could help solve some of our social and economic problems as well.
And just finally, do you have any advice for women in business to take their careers to the next level, especially at board level?
Definitely. I think that, women who are aspiring to get to a board level need to make their aspirations known. They must believe in themselves. They must put themselves out there and make sure that their capabilities and skills are known. It's easy to be overlooked. They must really not doubt themselves. And when it comes to decision-making at board level, don't hesitate to put your view forward and push the decision in the way that you believe it should be done. Because I think that sometimes women do hold back, and we need to develop our confidence to be able to really make our mark.
Michelle Olckers, thanks so much for your time this morning. Michelle is the co-CEO at Mazars, talking to us about the mammoth gender gap in boardrooms on the continent. Only 14% of board positions on the continent filled by women. All right, we're going to go to a break, and after that, there's time for one more interview. Leanne standing by with that one.